There's this beautiful quote that I heard one time, one of my mentors told me. He told me, what you feel was taken from you as a child is what you are meant to give as an adult. To leave judgment at the door and to replace it with curiosity. 7 years ago, I woke up in the middle of the night and I could not fall back asleep. After tossing and turning for a while, I finally decided to go downstairs and get myself a late night snack. My favorite, Trader Joe's Honey O's, and there was no more left. So now here I am rumbling through the refrigerator trying to find a substitute. And at the same time, my wife's phone begins to vibrate off the hook. I was like, man, who could be calling at this time of the night? But then the thought came to me, what if it's her mother calling from Peru and it's some kind of emergency? So I picked up the phone to see who it was. And to my surprise, I had no idea who this person was. Nonetheless, these are definitely not the kind of messages any mother would be sending to her daughter. In my experience, this is something that I would call a booty call. The only problem with this is that this was my wife. It was in that moment that I realized that she was having an affair, and I had no idea what I was going to do. I saw myself on this hamster wheel. Every relationship from this one to everyone before it ended up exactly the same way. And I knew that I never wanted this result again. But for the first time, I realized that this had nothing to do with her. This had something to do with myself, something that I wasn't seeing, and I needed to learn. So I started searching for mentors or groups that can teach me new ways. And I came across this message: have more power, passion, and purpose in your life. Fire up your relationships, man on fire. And I was like, man, my life cannot get any worse. I definitely need this in my life. I was scared to call in the beginning because there was something about this that really terrified me. But I knew in that moment that I needed to run right towards it. So I called and I got Coach Raj on the phone. He told me all about the program and how it worked. All I wanted to know was how much it cost. He finally got to that moment and he let me know $6,500. And I was like, I know I'm in, but I don't have a dime in my pocket. I remember this thing that I learned from Tony Robbins: become resourceful, do whatever it takes. And so I let Raj know, it might take me a year to get into this program, but I will be here. So I got to work right away. I sold everything that I could. All of my guitars and as many possessions to be able to get into this program. And finally, my day came. My first 4-day immersion. And Coach Raj was absolutely right. It changed my life forever and allowed me to see the world with new eyes for the first time. And I'm hoping that it will allow you to see the world with new eyes as well. The first thing I learned was discovering the wound. I learned that between the ages of 5 and 8, that most of us learn how to receive love in a very unhealthy way. And that we grow up to live through the eyes of children. This struck a deep chord with me. It brought me back to a time and place in my own life and where I strived for my father's recognition and love. And the only way that I was able to get that was through anger and fear. Ultimately, through violence. And that violence got me in trouble all the time. In school, it put me into the principal's office often. I became his secretary's best friend. We talked about everything before I had to go and face the consequences. And the pinnacle of it all was that in the 6th grade, they wanted to throw me out of school indefinitely because I was too violent. And I took this as a badge of honor because in these moments was when my father paid attention to me most. but it wasn't what I needed from him. What I needed was his love. This brings me to the second point in learning how to love yourself. It's called polarity. I had no idea what that word meant when I first heard it. It's when we're shaming and blaming others for the things that we don't want to see in ourselves. And I blamed my father for everything. I didn't fully embody this until the day that I brought my oldest son to college. I remembered his mother always telling me when they were kids, you give your two boys everything. You invest your whole life in them. What are you going to do the day when they grow up and leave you? And I put that aside for so long because I didn't want to face that truth. But then the day came. And I remembered coming home after dropping him off at college. It was just me and my youngest son now. I remember opening that door, and it was so quiet and dark. All the noise, the light, and the love that used to be in this house was now gone. After my son fell asleep, I was sitting on the couch, spinning in overwhelm and sadness. But then the thought came to me, Joseph, you've got tools. You're not going to allow yourself to just get stuck in this story. You are going to face and feel all the emotions, and that's it. And I did. And it was just then that I remembered being back in college myself, calling home to talk to my father. I wanted him to know all the things that I was learning and experiencing. I mean, the rarity of me being in college alone was such an accomplishment for me, and all I wanted him to do was be proud of me. But I got the complete opposite. Why are you there? This is so stupid. Come home. You're wasting time and money. Come home to the family business and everything will be okay. And eventually I did. I left school. I came home and everything wasn't okay. And I resented him and was so angry at him forever for that. But it was in this moment that I realized he felt just the way I feel right now. He just didn't have the tools that I have. It was then that I was able to give him empathy and compassion. I was able to give myself grace in knowing that I am not perfect, and this is all just part of the journey. But ultimately, I was able to honor my son in the way that my father wasn't not able to honor me. And I broke the chains to my heritage. This brings me to my third point. It's called being stuck. And all I wanted to know was how to become unstuck. One of my mentors, as I told you before, he brought me through this meditation and where we got to meet our inner children. I came to this moment when I was in school. I was about 5 years old in kindergarten. I remembered our teacher telling us how we were going to move on to the first grade. And we were so excited. Well, the summer passed and the next year came. I didn't really pay much attention to it in the beginning. I remembered being on this carpet playing with this little toy truck, awaiting all my friends to come into class. But they never came. I realized in that moment that I was still in kindergarten. All the people were coming in were new, and I had no idea who they were. But I remembered the most awful feeling. It was my first feeling of rejection. I felt left behind, forgotten. This is where we come to my fourth point. It's called enough. It's where we take our power back. This is where I realized that feeling I had of feeling left behind, it's how I carried all my relationships. I was playing a game. I needed this result to be able to feel worthy of love. But it was a very unhealthy game. And now that I had the awareness that I was playing it, for the first time in my life, I got to play it differently. I got to go back and realize that everything that I felt was taken from me as a child. I had been giving it to everybody so easily. All the love, all the attention, everything that I had a deep-seated intention I was supposed to get back. But now I realize that the only person who could have given me these things was myself. This is where I started giving myself the compassion and the empathy, the grace, and ultimately, I was learning how to love myself for the first time. It's when I came full circle and realizing that everything needed to be just the way it needed to be to make me who I am today. That's when I had gained so much gratitude for my ex-wife, for what she did. Because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be who I am today. And where now I am helping men and women in unhealthy relationships gain clarity, freedom, and safety so that they can create deep, connected, loving relationships for themselves. And so my question to each and every one of you, if any, what wounds did you suffer as children? What ways did you learn how to receive love in unhealthy ways? And if you were to bring these gifts of healing to your lives, what would your lives look like? How would it affect those that you love most? Just imagine the compounding ripple effect, not only in how this would change our lives, but in how it can change the world. I love this quote that I want to leave you with. It comes from Einstein and his theory of insanity. So many of us think that we're going to get a different result by doing the things that we have always done. But it's not until we begin to do things differently that we get that different result. So what's that one thing that you can do today in learning how to love yourself for the first time? Thank you.